This is a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.
Hey, bartender. Yeah, hey, barkeep. Yeah, I got this one. No, I talked to Theo about this. No, I got it. Oh, hey, shot in a beer. That's the Hazleton way. Shot in a beer. Oh, yeah. Make it a shot of antifreeze mixed with parts cleaner. That way, with any luck, you'll all go blind, and you won't have to watch yet another losing effort by the Cubs. What we did in Tampa was nothing short of a Christmas miracle, and Santa has no faith in the Cubs, and neither should you. So abandon all hope and get ready for the box score. Starts right now. Go Cubs.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Howard Coward for box score.
Hello, welcome to the box score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in New York City, where it's 3 p.m. Eastern. Well, let's get into the big story of the day. Seton, Pauly, you both wore flannel on a Friday. Is this the official start to Flannel Friday?
Wow, that's the obvious lead today, yeah. You know what? We try to wear, Seton more so than me, goes flannel year-round. I've never really seen a season that he doesn't go flannel.
Right, it doesn't exist.
Because our studio is usually the same general temperature. So even though it's in summertime, he has to sweat before and after work, but in the studio, he goes wire-to-wire flannel. I'm different. Once November 1st or maybe October 15th hits, I'm all in for the season. Once it gets to about late March, I start doing that transition to spring.
You know, I've always been, I'm a guy who's been known to wear a wool sweater in the middle of August, as my mom would tell you, and she would just get so frustrated with me where she would be like, why are you wearing that? And I don't know, I just like what I like. I'm a little like Fritzy in that way.
Guys, Brock, sorry, that's your lead fashion question? These guys wear plaid 11 months a year. I walk in with a sweater that made such a strong statement. First thing I came in, nobody was talking about the show. They were talking about the sweater for a good 15 minutes. Fritzy compared me to Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, he does have a Mr.
Perloff's the sleeve lines are so crisp.
Yeah,
they're like,
I'm waiting for you to tie your sneakers.
You could slice a tomato with
that
those.
sweater is so bad that Dan had to leave the show because he couldn't stand looking at it. That's the real reason Dan didn't.
This is my Rich Eisen look. You guys don't like this?
We need a little trolley to go by.
Rich the other day went blue on blue and blue and crushed it.
Who is it, Andrew? What designer are you wearing?
It's called Topshop. It's a British import.
Very nice.
It's like Grandpa Cardin or something.
Cashmere, very nice, my friend. Well, now that we've got the fashion out of the way, let's get to the story that Paula alluded to. Dan dipped out midway through the first hour. What happened to the boss, Pauly?
Well, he usually shows up around 7:20 a.m. Eastern, and it was about 7:45. I was like, Dan's not here. No big deal. That's his window. And I gave him a text, all good, and he walked in 10 seconds later. He seemed okay at first, a little dragging, a little tired. I noticed he had a Coke.
That's a tip-off.
Yeah, because he doesn't drink
morning Coke. Dan's not feeling well.
He doesn't drink Coke for the most part, other than that. So he had a Coke. I'm like, okay. I gave him an aspirin, and I was like, all right, he's got a hangover. I think he had a migraine. I'm pretty sure he had a serious migraine. What happened was, when we started going with the show on air, he was having trouble really getting his focus. And I've had a couple migraines before. I had one during the show. I couldn't see a foot in front of me, and I couldn't tell anything was going on, and I felt like I was dying or something. And that's my first and only real migraine in my life. So I think Dan was having some type of migraine, and it really slowed him down. It just kind of made him all woozy.
All right. Well, the show must go on, as we know, and the show went on with a new host.
Now joined by the four Danettes, it's Dan Patrick.
Welcome back to the Dan Patrick Show. It'll take you all of 1 second to realize this voice is not the buttery smooth.
Dude, you should have just played it off like you had a cold. You were Dan with a cold or something.
Dan with an awful cold sounds better than me at my best day.
I'll tell you what, dude. You picked the exact right time to start growing a power stash like that, though.
Did I? By the way, this is the Dan Patrick Show. Pauly Paps, Seton O'Connor, Todd Fritz, Fritzy, Andrew McLovin, Perloff. Now, I'm wearing kind of a 75% of a normal man's mustache.
That's generous.
Yeah. Trying to feel good about myself, big guys.
You know, this is the first time I've seen it on TV. That mustache
look
jumps
more
it jumps out at you, and it probably distracted everyone. No one's looking at it saying, "Where's Dan?" They're saying, "What's the deal with Paulie's mustache?"
Thank you.
It was really a brilliant move. I mean, I think, and by the way, thank God we didn't have any time to prepare for that, because I thought that sounded super smooth. I think it's all because it came right upon us. Paulie did amazing. But I think people are going to remember not the day Dan wasn't here, the day that the stash debuted. Is it going to stay, Paulie?
It's probably going to stay for a few weeks, but now it's going to stay forever. I'm going to grab the tape of this show, put it away, and someday show my grandkids how bad their dad looked on TV. But one thing with the hosting thing, it doesn't matter. It's like, I get notes like, hey, good job hosting. That's not what's happening here. What's happening is everyone's doing other roles than they're normally doing, and what you see there, while I may be the first person talking, Seton's cueing me differently and telling me things and giving me content, taking a lot of stuff that I have to do off my plate. So he's producing. McLovin's jumping in a different way than he normally would. It's kind of a shared situation. Fritzy's changing the entire rundown during the middle of a live TV show, which is not easy at all. And, you know, it's like, to me, it'd be like if you've never driven stick before and all of a sudden someone's, jump in that car and drive stick right now, but you have to get to the hospital. You're going to learn to drive stick really fast.
I think we should go back to really the more important thing, which is Paul's mustache.
And
I actually think that this is the day that Paul's been branded. This is now going to be part of his brand. And he's going to grow. The stash is going to become like synonymous with Paul Pabst. It's like going to be like Alex Trebek. Like, what do you mean he's shaving his mustache? You can't do that. So Paul, I think this is when you show the tape, it's going to be, this is the day that you became
It looks
like
even
Paul
thicker on
Mustache
TV.
Pabst.
Yeah, I kind of locked into it, like Magnum PI, or, you know, Jim Rome's had a goatee since he's like 12.
Right, it's the same thing.
I like doing this a lot.
Paul,
I always
also,
wondered
I
why
noticed
guys do that.
your looks change. Like, you're giving a lot of looks you might find in a 70s cop drama. You kind of look at it sideways all the time. You pose a lot with this mustache.
He's got a little bit of a Western attitude.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of
like a high
squinty
noon.
eyes or like a eagle's eyes.
There was a moment,
for a
and
gunfight or
I don't think you picked it up on camera, but there was our open for the show today had a kind of Herbie Hancock feel. And Seton looks over and he goes, "What the hell are you doing?" I was going,
Yeah,
going like this.
Go like that.
I was like, "What am I doing? I don't dance and I don't do this to my mustache."
What are you doing?
We got to start a Twitter feed, Paulie's mustache.
Yeah.
It definitely could be a big deal.
He came in this morning like he was entering a saloon or something like that with the swinging doors.
Good times.
Had a little attitude going.
Good times.
Well, Paul, you obviously drew power from the mustache. Seton, is this sort of a reminder to all the people out there that think they can jump in and do Dan's job, how difficult of a gig it is?
Wow, that's pejorative and insulting, but thank you.
What's that?
I think it's the opposite.
Yeah, well,
It's a yes/no answer.
that is a yes/no answer. Yeah, I don't really understand why people think it's so easy to do this job. I really don't know why. But people don't look at like Michael Jordan and be like, yeah, I could do that. But they look at Dan or somebody and say like, oh yeah, I could totally do that. And it's really difficult. So I think it's a good reminder actually for even us in the room to remember what Dan sort of is dealing with. And I think days like this make you better because you're more in tune with everybody's role, including Dan.
Yeah.
He's really good at what he does, and you can almost take that for granted in a way. And it's a good reminder to not.
The sports radio shows I love, the host seems like he's having a good time and just chatting with his buddies. And that's a developed thing. I listen to Scott Van Pelt, and he's so casual on air.
Yeah.
I mean, he couldn't be more casual, and I mean that as a total compliment. Same with a guy like Dan Le Batard. I got a note from someone halfway through the show and said, hey, loosen up, have more fun. Well, yeah, I'm sure if we all did this about 4 or 5 days in a row, we would loosen up. If you notice the show between hour 1 and hour 3, I thought it was a lot more loose and fun as we went. But it's almost like being an air traffic controller and telling the air traffic controller, do that job landing all these planes and be entertaining while you do it. It's not something that's called for. In sports radio, it is called for. You have to have a personality while you're directing all this stuff.
And also, you notice it takes a lot more energy when Dan's not there. Like, sometimes after the show, Dan makes it look easy. Dan's like, wow, that's a lot more tiring than you realize. I think to make it look effortless takes a lot of energy that I wasn't even used to. Felt like we did like a lot more work.
Yeah, and I think the average person, to the rest of the guys' point, is, it's one thing to talk sports for a little while with your friends, but this is like a whole other world. You're on national radio and TV, and to try to find that combination of information and news and entertainment and personality, and there's commercial breaks, and there's, you got Paulie's in Dan's ear and hitting things on time. There's so many other little elements. Dan, of course, makes it look smooth, but, a situation like this when we're kind of thrown into it, especially Paulie, conducting the interviews and handling pretty much, most of the duties of talking on the air while Dan was out, it's a lot different than just hanging out with your boys talking sports for a little while.
The one other thing, Brock, that I caught myself doing was I was asking questions long-winded, which Dan always talks about. I think I said to Chris Mannix, one more question about this. Don't say one more question, just ask the question. And Dan would, I don't think in a month from now any of us would do that, but in my head I'm hearing Dan say, don't say one more question, just ask that last question. Or let me ask you this. Well, you're already asking this. You have to say, let me ask you this. It's a crutch people use when they're getting to what they do. I notice people do it when they're on radio. I'm like, oh, that shows you're not that great. You're not there yet. And it's something with reps you could be like Dan someday if you do it thousands of times.
You were there, and if your father was alive, he'd be proud of you today. Fritzy, Jeff Daniels was supposed to appear in studio today, but dropped out when DP left. Was there a process to get Jeff Daniels to come in still?
Brock, nobody heard that question because that was a shot of a lifetime. I got to give you, as a guy who likes being snarky, you should take the rest of the afternoon off, man. I felt pretty good about myself today, but now I'm going to be rocking in a corner with a 8-pack of beer. Great.
We were very much looking forward to Jeff Daniels joining us in studio, but unfortunately with Dan out, we decided to table it. Hopefully we can reschedule it for another time. I think he's heading to Europe next week, so it may be a while. But the main thing is for obviously Dan to feel better, and once he does feel better, then I'm going to give him grief and ask if I still get credit for lining up Jeff Daniels in studio, even though we had to cancel.
Brock, we talked about that. Seat and I went outside a little while ago to get lunch, about 2.5 hours ago, and we're like, man, we wish we could have had Jeff Daniels on tape because we're so looking forward to it. And it's a real awkward situation because Jeff Daniels is a major movie star, TV star, and he's looking forward to sitting with Dan Patrick, all his publicists and people and agents and all this stuff. And I think we could have done a solid job with him. I think we've done a good job. But we thought that was kind of unfair to Jeff Daniels. Yeah. Because he's walking into kind of a AAA ballpark. Nothing against us, but that's what it is compared to Dan Patrick. And so we decided not to. I don't know if there was a way we could have done it. I don't know if there's a way we could have told his publicists, people like, Dan's out and you're going to come in. You're putting him in an awkward position.
It doesn't seem fair.
It's not fair to him. And I bet you he's such a pro and good guy that he would come in and just crushed it for us. But you're putting him in a real tough position to do that.
Well, you guys did a great job. Paulie, we polled Twitter, and you came out with a solid A-, so congrats on that. Coming up, McLovin reignites an old rivalry. But first, this gem from the year 2012 when Dan calls out sick.
Houston!
I thought Ronnie was going to be here. I'm actually wearing a flak jacket right now.
Oh, you thought he was going to be in studio?
Yeah. I've been
he's not in studio?
You didn't? You thought he was in the studio
Yeah.
too? I thought he was going to kick my butt.
I thought Ronnie was like, are they bringing him out? When is he getting out here?
I was ready to like talk trash and run to the back. He is lucky.
Yeah, that sweater.
Lucky.
That sweater.
Yeah, Ronnie, you know where I am? You know where I am? Where are you, big guy?
That sweater screams intimidation.
We are back here on the box score. Guys, Rodney Harrison was supposed to be in studio today, but ended up calling in. McLovin, is Rodney running scared?
Obviously. I mean, first of all, was Rodney supposed to be in studio?
No, Rodney was never scheduled to be in studio.
He hasn't been in studio since he took that cheap shot at me.
Yeah.
Has he actually told you he's afraid? Is that why he's not coming in?
He may be a little frightened. We always try to get, especially our Football Night in America friends, we always try to see if they can join us in studio. But yeah, he was always scheduled to be a phoner. But I will have to find out if he is in fact frightened by McLovin and his sweater.
We were watching a movie the other day, Brock. It's one of the Bourne Identity movies, and he's in Munich, Germany, Jason Bourne, and he gets in a fight with another one of the secret agent guys, like those killer guys. And the guy's got his hands behind his back, handcuffed, and they fight. Like he fights him without anything. I really think that Rodney Harrison could beat you up with both hands behind his back. And I'm not at all making a joke.
Do I get a weapon? Like I have a
just
bat.
you get both arms.
You got these.
Yeah, I got to tell you, we were talking jokingly about having some sort of physical competition or having him hit me while I'm wearing a sweater. He hit me at about 40% speed and caught me before I hit the ground. Like he could kill me. He could kill me. Like we have to be like a little serious about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, he hit you hard there, and that's nowhere near his full
Brock, we
strength.
missed that. Any chance you could show it one more time?
I think maybe we can. Can we throw that back up in yellow and roll that, please?
Oh. I wasn't expecting him to catch it.
All right, McLovin, I don't know if he can...
Wait a minute, I'm sorry. Wait, Brock,
Yes.
I'm sorry. Hold on one second. You know what? I noticed something interesting about that. Can we rewind that and get it one more time? I noticed something interesting.
All right, let's roll it back, please.
I can't, I watch this and I'm like, I want to watch Andrew get tackled, but I also want to see Paulie's
Look
little
at that little tiptoe excitement.
I know.
steppy thing.
I enjoyed that so much because Andrew wasn't colossally hurt. Not that it matters. I would have enjoyed it just as much.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, he did not have his hands tied back behind there, but hopefully he will because Andrew McLovin Perloff issued a challenge to one Rodney Harrison.
Rodney, you're going to be, of course, with Football Night in America, you're going to be in Arizona the entire week, right?
Yes, I will, and I'm definitely coming to your show once or twice, or how many times you invite me, if you invite me.
Can we, if we got your entire, Western Illinois uniform with pads, and we threw passes to McLovin, you got a couple hits left in you?
Of course.
Whoa. Like you could catch me though? He's got to catch me before he can
You know
hit
what?
me.
Let's do this. Whatever you're benching in Arizona, I'm gonna add 75 pounds more, and whatever you bench, I'll bench the same amount with 75 pounds more on it.
Oh, it's on.
So we'll have like a mini combine? Is that what you're saying? You want to do vertical? I'm in.
Yeah,
Whatever,
let's do
Rodney.
that. Let's race a 40. I'll give you 10 yards. Like I beat up on Hines Ward. Let's do it. Let's just have a mini combine.
I am looking forward to that. McLovin is a very brave man. He's, done this a number of times, and he's done it again yet today, challenging one of our guests, who is obviously bigger, stronger, and faster than he is, or all of us for that matter. And he's talking a good game. We've seen McLovin bench, and he's shown us some of his great athletic feats of muscle power. But I think he's pushing a little too hard, and I'm already counting the days to Super Bowl week to see what's going to happen to my friend in the back row here when Rodney gets.
Can I ask
gets
you,
a handle.
McLovin, would you rather be permanently hurt early in the week or later in the week? I'm just planning out producing one.
Well, there is getting sympathy on the streets of Arizona.
Right. But then you can't walk all week when we go out to dinner and things like that.
I will do a bench press off with him because if I train, I think I could get up to 245.
That's a lot.
So if he had 75, that would mean he'd have to do about 320. Can Rodney Harrison bench 320 at this advanced age?
I bet he could.
I think he's still younger than me, by the way.
He
but
is.
That's
I'll get one up.
I tell you what, if Rodney, I'll take on Coach Dungy on the bench too. I think I could take him. This is not going to end well.
No, it's not.
Seton, do you think that McLovin can outrun Harrison with a 10-yard front head start?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Andrew is a good runner, but I think if we were going more distance than just that 30 yards for Andrew, but no, I don't think he has a chance.
I'm not a quick starter. Yeah, 40 is not. It's slow.
He'd take him in like the 5-miler, I bet, but not the.
And knowing Rodney's rep for hitting after the whistle, even if you beat him, let's say it's at the buzzer, at the tape, and you're 1 yard ahead
I
of him.
like have my arms
when
up
you
like
have
this.
your hands up,
Crush you.
he's going to put something right in your spleen area.
He's going to Tony Romo you in.
Yeah, a late hit.
Sort of spine situation.
Well, pay up on your medical there, McLovin. We got our fingers crossed for you. Stick around. How much would you pay for some Danette achievements? We'll tell you next. We're back here on the box score. Well, we know you guys love memorabilia, and as we found out a couple weeks ago, especially when it pertains to your row partner, we searched some online auctions for some Danette-related material. It's time for another edition of Worth or Worthless. We'll show you an item that sold on during an online auction. You need to guess how much it sold for within $20. The first one is for Polly. It's the 1992 hardcover Dietrich, Style and Substance, penned by one Patrick O'Connor, a 160-page biography on actress Marlene Dietrich. Polly, what's it worth?
Wow, she was underrated, though. She was good looking back in the day. I've read a little about her.
Connor is a hell of a writer.
Now, that book back in the day probably went for, I would guess, $4.99. So let's say it's worth more than that now. I'm going to go, the rate right now is $14.99.
You're well within range. It is $9.98.
Thank you.
McLovin, you're up. Worth or worthless, McLovin? This original of this painting dates back to 101 years and is named Little Fritzy's idea of Grandpa in heaven. Just as any heavenly idea from Fritzy, half of this scenario is food. McLovin, your guess.
This is probably the weirdest thing I've ever heard of and the weirdest question I've ever received. I'm going to say it's $9.99.
You are just within range, sir. $11 that sold for.
Look at you guys. Nailing it.
Next up, Seton. It's a 1960s Pabst Blue Ribbon lit bar sign featuring a moving car and driver. Ooh. We're assuming this scene is before the driver consumed the beer, but it was a different time back then. In any event, Seton, your guess.
Oh boy, this is interesting.
I have some of that memorabilia from Pabst, like I've gotten on eBay before.
$59.95.
You are well under, sir. The actual retail price is $358.39.
Oh. Jeepers creepers.
Oh, time for this one. Our final item is for Fritzy. Fritzy, this couldn't be more perfect for you to guess on. It's called McLovin the Muscle Man. This ultimate corkscrew flips out from between McLovin's legs and is ready to screw in and pull out. Todd, what's a screw-in McLovin worth?
What the heck is going on there?
Well, before he guesses, could I just request that we open up the budget a little bit and buy that no matter what he guesses?
We have to have that in the man cave. I'm going to say, does it have the Kung Fu grip? I'm going to go 36.68.
Overshot just a bit, like he looks like he's done there in his pants there. $4.99 is what that goes for.
That's it?
Wow, that is undervalued.
That's a great deal.
That is undervalued.
That is.
By the way, my favorite part about this segment, Brock, is that Fritzy never guesses a round number or even like a $4.99, $8.99 to ensure he'll never get the correct answer.
I can't believe that's only $5. There's no excuse for us not to get that for the man cave.
I was for my wife too, if you know what I mean.
Guys, in full clarity, I looked it up online and it is sold out right now, but I have registered, so they will let me know when that item gets back in. McLovin, Paulie, you are our winners today. Don't go away. The greatest gridiron contest ever in the universe, in the history of man, is next. Love it. Hi. Welcome back to the Box Score. Guys, a huge weekend of NFL action is on deck this weekend as we hit the back nine of the season. And if we're talking NFL on Friday, it can mean it's only one thing is in store for us.
The Dan Football Night in America Challenge.
That's right, the battle continues here on the Box Score. I have been informed by the producers that the prize for all this contest will be unveiled soon, so please be a Dan Patrick hairpiece. Please be a Dan Patrick hairpiece. All right, football night in America Sunday. It'll be the Packers versus the Bears. Vegas has this game at 53.5. We're going to ask you to guess the total points in the game, and if you were within 2 points, that is an extra 2 points. Paul, you are the Bears fan. Start us off.
You know, whenever you react to an over-under, I always bet against my reaction. I thought, wow, that's high, 53.5, which means I would bet low, which is exactly what Vegas wants you to do, so I'm going to take the over. 56.
McLovin, you're next.
Well, let's see. Aaron Rodgers has a hammy that he's dealing with from the last game, but he owns the Bears. I think this is going to be a revenge game. Jay Cutler's going to come up big just when everyone is down on him. I'm going to say it's over 64. Wow. Still like the Packers to win.
Seton, your total.
I think the Packers are going to put up some points, but I don't really think the Bears will. So I'm going to actually take the under. I'm going to go 49 points.
Fritzy?
Fritzy's going to go push. You're going to say push, it's going to hit right on the number?
Yeah,
He's going to take 63 and...
No, I actually was thinking 48, but that's very close to your 49. So I'm going to go even a little lower than that, and I'm going to say a total of 47 points between the Bears and the Packers.
I don't think Vegas is ever wrong. I'm going to go with 54 points. I'm going to say they get it right on the head. Okay. Fritzy, who is on next week?
Among our guests next week, Tony Dungy, Reggie Miller, Amari Stoudemire, Dick Vitale, Joe Madden, just to name a few. And of course, Rich Eisen, our
among the luminaries.
When you say just name a few, that's really all right now.
That's everybody. Right?
Yeah.
You can barely name a few.
Thanks for watching The Box Score. Set your DVR or tune in weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern only on Audience Channel 239. Also catch our podcast on iTunes or at podcastone.com. Technology and stuff. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching The Box Score. Holy cow!
This was a presentation of DirecTV, exclusive home of the Red Zone channel, the Fantasy Zone, the Dan Patrick Show, 20 years of NFL Sunday Ticket, the Rich Eisen Show, and America's premier source for sports television.